Now, I want the people to know that they still have 2 out of 3 branches of the government working for them, and that ain't bad.
Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast that says, ack, 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 ack. I'm Michael.
I'm KALEN. This is also the podcast that gets ready for the inevitable invasion that will take place sometime in the near future.
Yeah, actually, we're doing Alien April this month, and we're going to be reviewing Mars Attacks, but I think we should take this as an opportunity for you, KALEN, to update me, Michael.
On the aliens?
Yeah, what's the most recent UFO update?
Okay.
Any big news in the UFO realm?
First of all, forgive me because I think I'm getting a cold or have bad allergies. But I really don't know.
Okay, thank you. That has been the UFO Minute. We'll come back to this segment.
No, it's funny because I'm pretty sure nobody knows. And so it's pretty spot on. Journalism right there.
I watched a video that looked pretty convincing for 2 minutes, and then somebody zoomed in and said, actually, it's a bird. And it was a bird. So that's my newest UFO news. There was not a UFO off the coast.
I hate the constant blue balling that these ufologists always do, where they're like, oh, we have information coming out, and it's going to change the course of the future, and the way you see aliens, UFOs, man, is going to be completely different. Disclosure. I'm just like, fuck you.
I mean, it's all part of the scam.
It is.
But then the next thing's in the new book, or the next thing is whatever.
Lou Elizondo's new book, yeah.
It's like, like those like Finding Bigfoot Discovery Channel TV shows, but every commercial's like, the shocking evidence. You won't guess what they possibly found in the woods.
But I think there's a big difference, though, between that and like the UFO stuff, because I'm pretty sure there's something, I've seen things with my own eyes that I can't explain in the sky. I mean, it could be explainable or natural, but it was weird, something I've never really seen before. But, I'm just saying, I think there's legitimately something out there.
I just mean I'm more addressing the serialized content that always has a new thing behind the door, but never has actually that thing behind the door. But they'll tell you there's the thing behind the
grainy footage.
The footage of the white egg?
Yeah. That was bullshit.
The white egg rope footage.
That was some fucking bullshit.
Look up egg UFO. You'll see a man with like a UFO filter, like a green night vision filter on his iPhone camera, like swinging a rope around an egg in his living room.
Yeah,
is what I think it is.
It's pretty bad. And that was the one that was like hyped up as like, this is like UFO retrieval program.
It was like the level of fake of the most famous Loch Ness picture.
Yeah,
like the famous Nessie is famously just a man who purposely made a boat to look like Nessie.
I mean, if there are aliens for real, which I'm pretty confident to say that there is something. But I mean, I think also to us as humans, we put up like our own take on everything because we are looking through everything with a human mindset, and it could just be something we just don't have any possibility of understanding.
I heard there's alien mummies in Brazil. That's what I heard.
The cake aliens.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Movie
Alien
podcast.
April. Was it Alien Invasion April or Alien April?
We called it Alien April. It could be Alien Invasion April. Actually.
Well, we're already getting invaded by aliens right now, so I feel like that's not super appropriate.
I mean, the lizard people live among us. But
I'm not talking about the lizard people.
But the lizard people were from here. They're from the subterranean tunnels.
Trump has already made this Alien April.
If you look at some really grainy news footage on YouTube, sometimes it looks like a news reporter has 2 pairs of eyelids. That's not digital artifacting. That's
reptilians are among us.
That's reptilians among us. Alien April. We're covering Alien films in Alien April. Not Alien the franchise, not Alien TM, but just aliens. Those that are out there. And we're starting with Mars Attacks. Tim Burton's kind of zany throwback to 50s alien movies that
was an incredible flop.
A total flop, and happens to come out the same year as Independence Day, which will be our next episode. Comes out after it. And I think that had a lot to do with it being a flop, because we just had this massive UFO film in Independence Day, and accidentally Tim Burton kind of made the
it's like a parody almost,
the Scary Movie to its Scream, but totally coincidentally, they were both in production at the same time, but it's just two alien invasion films. They're very widespread, big casts, but Mars Attacks takes a trading card series that I think was just a bunch of images of aliens killing people and doing.
But it was the classic alien that you see in this movie with the brain head and the skull face kind of thing.
And flying saucers.
Yeah.
And
very Flash Gordon kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he made this 50s throwback film that was zany and comedic sometimes. Doesn't totally work for me is my review, but I also think watching it back to back with Independence Day, I kind of like that it doesn't take it all that seriously. It goes down a little easier.
For sure.
And there's definitely fun to be had within it.
Shall we get into the performance test?
Let's get into the performance tests.
It was the performance of a lifetime!
KALEN, for both of these movies, I kind of tried to helpfully group our cast into their little tiny subplots.
Okay.
Because there's like, it's your classic sprawling end of the world thing where it's like we cut to, and usually get
to scientist guy, then we cut to the president.
Yes, there's people picking up phones, and there's letters on the screen that say like Washington D.C. Oval Office, and a man picks up a phone. He goes, "Oh, say what?"
And then you cut to your like civilian group or like a family
in a trailer park,
and then a black family.
Yeah.
And then you cut to like military guys.
Well, yeah. And we just go around the globe.
Yeah.
We go high level, we go low level. We get our assembly of characters. And in most movies, somehow they're supposed to, I think, come together and assemble something resembling a plot. And in this movie, we just kind of get our cast of characters, and then it's like the gremlins have arrived, because a lot of the aliens do like gremlin shit.
Yeah.
It's very goofy, and then it's literally just 45 minutes of wacky bits as everyone slowly dies.
Yeah.
So our first group let's talk about is Jack Nicholson in his first role. He has a dual role in this film. Glenn Close as his wife. It's the president and the first lady. Natalie Portman being mad and angsty in the house, kind of doing a Beetlejuice girl thing. And then Martin Short constantly picking up hookers and also being the press secretary. That's one of our one of our groups in the sort of White House region of this film. What do we think of Jack Nicholson as the president?
What's this?
Oh, that's your executive order authorizing full use of our nuclear deterrent, sir.
Are you out of your mind? I'm not going to start a war.
We're already at war, sir. We have to nuke them. We have to nuke them now.
General Decker, if you do not shut up, I am going to relieve you of your command.
We have to strike now, sir. Annihilate. Kill. Kill. Kill.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
So this is something that I agreed with the RLM review for this, the review that they did. Why did they have Jack Nicholson as the president? They could have chose anybody else. Mm-hmm. It's kind of beyond me. But he just sounds like a villain. You know, he doesn't have a very commanding like presidential voice. You know.
No, and I think what they're trying to do, and I think they have succeeded, is they're trying to do a little bit of like government satire, and everyone's shallow. Like Glenn Close is particularly shallow. That's like her thing.
Yeah.
She's obsessed with the things that surround her. at the White House and the history, and she gets crushed by the Nancy Reagan chandelier.
Yeah.
As she gasps and says, "The Nancy Reagan chandelier." And they do a little bit of that with Jack Nicholson, and he's more just like the spin doctor.
Yeah.
Like everything that goes wrong, he's like, well, damn it. Well, what's the next thing? Is kind of his whole deal the whole movie. Like, I love when they take him away to the war room, which is a total Doctor Strangelove homage with the way the whole thing is dressed. And he's like, I want the people to know that there's still 2 branches of the government working hard for them, because in the entirety of Congress had just been vaporized by the Martians.
Yeah.
I just love his sort of wheeling, like he's a salesman. He's like the pitchman. He's kind of Trumpian in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because Martin Short, the White House press secretary, like, I would have thought that role was kind of ridiculous, but considering real life recently, I'm like, that's not too far off.
And actually, the way he chooses to handle the invasion, he's not an idiot.
No.
He comes in peace. He the one general that's just like, kill, attack, attack. He says, no, you stay behind. We're going to have this other general.
Who's pretty chill.
Come say hi to them. And we just have Natalie Portman stalking around the house, being grumpy, and I think maybe having a cut romance plot with the other like teenage boy that's in the cast.
That would have gave her more to do.
Because they kiss at the end, or like she pecks him on the cheek, and they kind of wink at like a romance thing happening. I'm like, y'all just met just now.
Yeah.
This is an official event.
I mean, her character was pretty unnecessary to begin with.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so what's the next group?
So we have Trailer Family.
Yes.
So there's Jack Black and his parents. We have the fail son Richie, played by Lucas Haas, who works in the donut shop and kind of he ends up saving the day at the end of the film.
He does.
And we have Grandma, who's half at the trailer, half at her, end of life home, essentially.
Grandma's just kind of out of it.
Yeah, Grandma's not all there. Occasionally she says something relevant to the conversation, and sometimes she's off in space, metaphorically. And they are a tiny subplot. It
reminds me, I mean, it's so crazy because you have the same type of family
in Independence
Day with the dad that's the pilot, and he's got his trailer park kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of insane that these two movies, I don't know, they must have shared notes or something.
Or every Hollywood elite is like, what is an everyday American? And a trailer park kick.
Yeah.
Although, at least in Mars Attacks, I think it's played up. Like, Jack Black's doing a Forrest Gump accent.
Oh, it's definitely like hyper.
It's
reality.
so hammy.
Yeah.
They're after the aliens arrive, they like cut back, and the dad's like loading his shotgun. They're like, they're not getting the trailer.
It was fun to see Jack Black, like a young Jack Black, though. Even though he didn't have much to do and he got vaporized pretty quickly. But
yeah, and I think that casting's aged really well because I don't think Jack Black was that famous at the moment. But the way they're setting him up, he's supposed to be like your heroic soldier character that we follow. In Independence Day, he would be like Will Smith.
Yep.
But no, he gets vaporized at minute 40 of the movie and only has a few lines.
But you could definitely see, I could see how Jack Black evolved from this. You know what I mean? Like, down the road and becomes a Jack Black we all know.
And this section is important just because Richie and Grandma, through a series of wacky incidents, find out that yodeling music makes the Martians' brains explode. It's kind of like the Signs ending where water burns their skin. Something innocuous ends up saving humanity. I mean, actually, the original one is War of the Worlds, where they all catch a cold and die.
Yeah.
Except this is played for laughs, so they just drive around in a truck with massive speakers playing yodeling music, and at the end of the film, there's military helicopters equipped with speakers playing this music. And at some point, this is some backstory. Howard Stern, the radio producer, I forget whether he said it was, I think it was a bit on his radio show where they were joking about an alien film, which was literally about this yodeling artist defeating Martians with his music. they did as like a bit on their show. And then he said he went and sat on the theater and watched the end of the movie and was like, what the hell
They stole
is
my
this?
bit.
They stole my whole idea, word for word, bar for bar.
bar.
And at some point,
Shrek.
years later, Tim Burton gets confronted about this on the Howard Stern show, and he laughs and says, well, you should have sued me.
Yeah. Pam Grier is in this. We all know Pam Grier from Quentin Tarantino's like probably least known movie, Jackie Brown. She's fine. Her son is Ray J. I don't know if you noticed that.
That's Ray J?
That's Ray J.
I saw Ray J in the credits, and I could not spot Ray J.
Ray J was her older son.
Okay.
The younger son was from this movie called Soul Food, about a black family that eats soul food. Actually, funny thing about this movie is that, about that movie, Soul Food, is that the grandma dies from like, she had like high cholesterol and stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She dies from like high cholesterol because from eating all these like high sodium foods. And so the way they honor grandma is by eating more high sodium foods. Yeah. Anyways, that movie is funny. Jim Brown, another blaxploitation actor.
NFL Hall of Famer.
NFL Hall of
one
Famer,
time
yes.
thought to be one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Yes. Also, Danny DeVito makes an appearance. He doesn't have a big role. He just kind of shows up for a couple seconds and then dips.
I just want to say my half remembering of this film as I was rewatching it, it cut from Jim Brown and eventually Pam Grier gets introduced, and I was like, is she married to Jim Brown? And I was like, no. Let me not be racist because they're clearly in a completely different section of the country. But no, our only black characters are married, and one are in Las Vegas and one is in.
Well, there was a phone call between the two of them.
Yeah, eventually at the middle of the movie, but I think when they're both introduced, we don't know that they're related until that phone call.
Yeah, and he was also wearing that like ridiculous Pharaoh outfit, so you're kind of distracted by him for a little bit. He worked in a casino, and it's that like classic case of like, oh, I need a raise or whatever. Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of cliches in this movie.
Well, I think Pam Grier did some great yelling at her children. I love when she finds her kids playing at the arcade because school got canceled because aliens are invading, but she doesn't know that because she's working on the bus. So she gets out the bus and yells at her children and basically like grabs them by the ear and tosses them on the bus, and then everyone on the bus applauds.
Excuse me, folks, but we gotta make an unscheduled stop! It's Mama. What are you doing here, huh? If you ain't gonna come home, why did you in class, huh? Mama, because class was not canceled. Yes, now you come here.
For what?
Come here. I'm not gonna hurt you now. Come here.
Let go of him.
Okay. Now just come here. Come here. You think it's Mama got you? Huh? Do you? Do you? Huh? Huh? No, Mom, because it's dumb. You're gonna flunk and you're gonna go to jail.
Mama, no,
you get your butt on that bus. Get on that bus, boy. Y'all was tripping all over you. You get back there, and I don't want to hear another word out of you. You hear me? I heard that.
That was a good one. Tom Jones is in this as well.
Las Vegas singer.
Fucking Michael J. Fox. We forgot all about Michael J.
Well, that's one of our trios is Michael J. Fox, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Pierce Brosnan as our sort of half-baked love triangle that collapses because this movie builds to our meeting with the Martians at like the 40-minute mark. It all goes well until some hippie holding a dove says, "They come in peace," and launches the dove into the air, and then the Martians promptly vaporize them and vaporize the bird and start vaporizing everybody in the surrounding area.
It's a great scene.
And turns into an absolute bloodbath. And Michael J. Fox and Sarah Jessica Parker are both news reporters. Sarah Jessica Parker more in like the tabloidy region, it seems like, and Michael J. Fox is a serious news reporter.
Yeah.
And they're both there. And we think this is a thing that's going to go on the whole movie. And it's Michael J. Fox is kind of like the Jack Black character of that arc where he just dies.
Yeah.
He dies in the middle of the Martian attack and gets left behind.
I thought he would have a little bit more to do. You know, he's Michael J. Fox. I mean, fresh off the heels of Back to the Future. Not fresh off the heels,
No.
but I mean, like, he's a big actor.
Actually, I think this is one of his last big movie roles. I think he had Spin City, the TV show he was in, and then eventually because of his Parkinson's, he started...
Yeah, such a shame for Michael J. I always liked him. Pierce Brosnan, is he the most handsome guy ever?
I mean, a very classic James Bond for sure.
He's definitely up there, I feel like.
Folds Sarah Jessica Parker in like 3 lines.
Yeah.
They meet on the talk show.
He didn't
and
even really
she's-
have to do much.
She's an absolute puddle. And they both get kidnapped into the UFO. And in the UFO, which is like the most Tim Burton-y section of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of this movie doesn't have a lot of your Tim Burton hallmarks. But when we cut up to the Martian lab, it's like got the machinery that's in every Tim Burton movie. It's in the pie making shop in the barber one, what Sweeney Todd, and it's in Alice in Wonderland and all kinds of stuff. And Sarah Jessica Parker gets her head cut off and put on the Chihuahua, and they just are floating heads in space. Yeah. That we just occasionally cut back up to. And I think the only person we've forgotten to talk about up to this point is Jack Nicholson's second role as like real estate tycoon in Vegas.
Yeah.
And he's just wearing crazy wigs and doing a crazy accent.
I guess it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, both Mars Attacks and Independence Day have this thing where they think, and Mars Attacks is much funnier, but they think
Caricature. Wow, holy shit.
Caricatures?
Yes, caricatures are funny. That's like a thing.
Yeah, it's just like, what if I put a kooky character in this scene?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of great jokes for this second Jack Nicholson character.
Or it's like, what if I had a funny Jewish guy?
Yeah.
You know?
Are you talking about Judd Hirsch in Independence Day?
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
I mean, he is like, frankly, the best part of that movie, probably. But still, it's like that type of character.
Yeah.
You know? Why is the question.
It's pretty unnecessary, and I think the ultimate downfall of this film is it's a total, like, of course you could see it in the movie theater and be like, this is, I mean, it's all a joke. There's nothing to it, you know?
Yeah. It's you're not supposed to take it seriously.
If you're not getting enough laughs off, then it's not doing anything for you.
Did we get laughs off, though? I think there's like 1 or 2 times where I thought it was like, that's pretty clever.
I don't think it's a total riot. I think there's a lot of there's humorous bits in different areas, but it's not consistently funny.
Right.
There's also parts that are total duds that I think are supposed to be laugh lines.
Honestly, I think it's like the vibe that does it for me. Like, it's kind of just like a cool little movie. I don't know. I just loved like the 50s kind of feel where it's like, you know, that classic serial alien shit. I don't know.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think the flimsiness is also the benefit. That's like what we like about it, is that it is this stupid thing.
Yeah.
Where the whole movie blows up, and then the last half of the movie bits.
Right.
And all our characters dying in various ways.
I wish it had like maybe a little bit more like social commentary. It was a little bit more cynical. I think that's what it would have almost like a Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
You know. Let's move on to It's an Art.
This is where we talk about aspects of the filmmaking process, like our sets and our effects and our design choices, which is a big Tim Burton thing.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
So originally they wanted to do stop motion for the aliens, which I would have loved. I understand why they didn't do that, because it's probably way more expensive than just doing CGI. Mm-hmm. This is very early CGI. It was 1993. Same year Jurassic Park came out, which Jurassic Park still has CGI that holds up to this day. And then obviously Independence Day, which is pretty shit too, I would say. But it's a little bit more well done. I think they had definitely a bigger budget. The budget for this was 80 to 100 million. It grossed 101 million worldwide in the box office.
Yeah, big flop, big Christmas release, which I also think is kind of just a miss. Like, it's not a movie you would take your family to see
this
on
is
Christmas.
a summer blockbuster kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it got bumped because Independence Day was coming out, and they were so similar that they tried to put some space between it. But I think 6 months later, this hits like a total wet fart, because people are like, "What the hell is this? This is just the stupid version of this movie everyone loved from the summer."
Well, yeah, Independence Day has that just kind of the awe factor, you know, and that's definitely what sold people on it. I don't think it was anything like other than that. The movie is pretty god awful, I would say.
Yeah.
But for this, I feel like it would have gone a long way to do a lot more practical stuff, as far as like the aliens and just kind of like the sets and different things. The CGI is just really jarring. At least right now it is, just because it hasn't aged too well. But even back then, I feel like it would have gone a long way to have more practical kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Burton talked about it being intentionally unreal, which I think is true. Like, it's not trying to.
Right.
Like, the way the aliens move is to evoke a stop-motion feel.
Yes.
And the way they're designed, I think, is as well. It is not like... It certainly you never believe in the way that... Independence Day has some great shots and some great effects in there, and this kind of just looks wonky and stupid, I think, mostly intentionally.
I just think it would have been more fun for the audience and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, but this is a movie where a UFO goes to the Washington Monument and runs into it and tries to crush a bunch of like Cub Scouts that are running around, and then it goes on the other side and tries to tip it the other way
It's pretty funny.
It's absolute Looney Tunes madness for the most part.
But here's like this movie kind of reminds me of like Little Shop of Horrors. In like the goofiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a much better movie, but I just think like what added to the charm of that movie was just like the practical effects and stuff. But obviously that's a lot smaller of a film with like a much smaller cast and stuff. But that's just something personally I would have liked to see.
There's just some classic Burton set dressing. It doesn't come out in every scene, but I think of the set of Sarah Jessica Parker's TV show where they have those weird egg-shaped polka dot chairs in this really stark like red and blue environment, or the War Room, which is definitely a strange level homage, and you have this big glowing map in the background and everybody's seated in a circle, and it's very like stark and old-fashioned and has all these like big shadows like they would do in like these old black and white versions of these films.
I think this is the start of Tim Burton's movies like kind of looking like shit though, which is very unfortunate because he has such a distinct kind of style to him, and this is a very different like type of film for him to make. Before this it was like Batman and Edward Scissorhands and a lot of the gothic kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And with this it's very vibrant and goofy. Just very different from what he usually does. So yeah,
the color palette is more the suburban side of Edward Scissorhands
for sure
than a lot of his other work, which gets more dreary.
But I think there's something cool with Tim Burton stuff. It's very like all of his stuff is very dreamy.
Pee-wee Herman, which is his first big movie.
Oh, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is largely, at least for the alien scenes, has the classic theremin sound, that old 1950s wobbly warbly sounds in the background, which adds to the sort of throwback feel of this film. But overall, I think feels more classic blockbuster, even like throwback. They talk about Burton talked about The Towering Inferno, which is this big 70s movie, which was kind of the big end of the big event movies of early Hollywood, where it was like, come see The Towering Inferno was like massive building aflame and this big cast with this person and this person and this person, where it was always come see this thing and look at all these people that are in it.
Right.
If Mars Attacks was one of those movies, it would be sold as like, come see the Martians, come here. They're here to attack.
Yeah.
And we're here with Jack Nicholson and Pam Grier and this and that. And they flash all the names on the screen. The theremin soundtrack and just so many of the decisions kind of tie back to this being this throwback style of film.
Right.
But it hits like a parody. And some of it is intentional and some of it I think is just doesn't work. It's just not all landing the tone that they're going for.
Yeah. For sure.
Should we move on to, hey, what are you trying to say?
Take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, let me just get that last measurement on your.
Thank you. You know, I need this for the wedding.
Okay, well,
I need it really quickly. Like
it could take about a week to do.
It could take a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you trying to say? He's trying to say that I'm so big, my bum is so big, you need to order to various countries far away to get enough material to make a pair of pants so I can fit my incredibly obese buttocks into a pair of your specially made little suit.
No, I mean I'm the only one working here this week.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that would be great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really think this movie is saying much. Like I was saying before, I almost wish it was a little bit more cynical and it had like some social commentary in there, especially about like how the administrations like handle crisis.
Yeah,
you know, that could have been fun and a little interesting if they like went a little bit farther with that. You have a little bit of it here and there. But.
Yeah, the extent of it is mostly the one general that's like, attack, 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 kill, kill, kill.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they go to Congress and everybody is like some gray-haired white
yeah,
in a gray suit, and everybody just looks very uniform and the same. But no, not a lot of real cutting commentary.
There's really no plot.
No, it's
with this movie.
It's half of a movie and then a bunch of dumb gags, ending in the Jack Nicholson speech, which ends in a dumb gag.
Well, I thought the first 40 minutes of this movie was pretty. I'm not going to say great, but it was watchable. It was fun.
Yeah.
You know, because you're introduced to all these characters, but then you do kind of like, oh wow, we're continuously introducing new characters and stuff. It's kind of, I mean, that's the same thing Independence Day had, where it's like, why are we doing this? Why is there so much? But yeah.
I will say that I enjoy that it's only an hour and 50 minutes, and Independence Day I think is more like 2 hours and 20 minutes. If there was 30 more minutes of the same kind of jokes, this would be like really tiring.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad. I feel like they knew at least when to end it and like what was their limit to stuff in this film. Because original like early drafts of the script had even more characters and even more going on, and they pared it down enough, I would say. But the problem is nothing ever like coalesces to anything important. Like nobody has an arc, nobody does a thing. Jim Brown dies, but wait, he didn't. It's never even really explained.
Right.
He just shows up to see his family at the end. So it even undercuts like the one kind of tragic moment in the movie, even though, you know, thousands, millions of people die, but it's all a big joke.
Yeah. Let's move on to Let the Hate Flow Through, because there's just a couple things.
Let's air out our annoyances and our complaints.
See, I don't really have too much to complain about with this movie, but I think it's just like what I was saying earlier. Just like the amount of characters and kind of like the I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just kind of like, ooh, look, we went there. I don't know, it's a little too tongue-in-cheek for me.
Yeah.
I just don't find that kind of comedy very funny or entertaining.
It's like, why is Danny DeVito in this movie for a minute and a half?
Yes.
As a non-character, for him to like be in the group with Jim Brown, who is one of our main characters.
It feels like a movie that would have been made today, where it's like, look at all these actors and we brought him back. Here's the girl from Halloween, you know?
Yeah, and also some of it's just like these gags that I don't know are like worn out, because like the end of the movie it goes to Pierce Brosnan and Sarah Jessica Parker, and there's just these disembodied heads rolling on the ground, and they start kissing, and it's like, oh, we love each other, and it's, I guess, funny because they're two heads rolling around, and it's like, it's kind of funny conceptually, but you're not laughing. Like, I'm not laughing.
No.
This is quirky, I guess, but I'm not. It's not.
I guess that's what B movies are, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it definitely has the soul of a B movie.
It's just, I've seen movies with the Tim Burton charm on it, and the humor's the same type of humor, but it's not hitting in the way it does in like movies that I do like Ed Wood,
any Coen Brothers movie,
or Beetlejuice, or if I'm sticking to, or even I like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're thinking like Coen Brothers does that kind of Looney Tunes kind of shit, and they do it really well, and I feel like if they would have made this movie, a lot of those jokes would have landed, or the quirkiness of it would have been more serviceable, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. I don't know. I always do this thing where it's like I watch a movie, and if I'm like a little off on it, I'm like, okay, what's a director that could have came and did this better? You know? I don't know.
I agree. They definitely are better at dialogue.
Oh, for sure.
And just...
But Tim Burton has always been the guy for the vibe, the atmosphere, you know, and the great practical effects, which is like are not in here. So that's what was kind of disappointing for me.
So, should we ask our final question? Is this a perfect movie?
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way. I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And he was perfect. Perfect in every way.
I, for one, think that if the aliens came down and they watched this movie, they would be very offended.
They would be offended. They're gremlins. They're little monsters. They're just little devious little shits running around is what they are. They're like just a misbehaving kindergarten class of invaders.
Intergalactic kindergartners would
intergalactic
be fucking terrifying.
YouTube pranksters.
It's just a prank, bro. Intergalactic Vitaly.
Didn't he get locked up or something?
We were just talking about this the other day.
Yeah, so the aliens wouldn't be happy about it. As far as myself, not a film that achieves it. I actually like this movie. Like, I've been down on it, and I think it's a little uneven, but I think it's a fun enough movie.
Oh, I like it too. Yeah.
It's a thing I'll return to, I'm sure, just because, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. The fact that it's not that deep is also sort of its appeal.
Yeah.
That I could just put it on, and it's like, this is some kind of...
I think it's a classic.
Kind of silly to look at.
Like a cult classic, maybe?
Cult classic for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely was divisive at the time, I think, reviews-wise. And I think the people that like it, and the people that won't vibe with it, won't vibe with it.
Well, it's one of those movies, too, where it's like it cemented itself into pop culture. Like, the aliens are pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Their whole thing. And then also, like, I just kind of like the whole B-movie alien kind of thing. I really like that game on the PS2. What was it? Destroy All Humans.
Which I think is very Mars Attacks inspired.
Yeah, for sure. It's just goofy. It's fun. And it's got that nice, like, 50s atmosphere to it. Even though the time period in this is kind of all over the place.
It's modern day, but all the military are dressed as if they are from like World War II.
Yeah,
era.
that's what I thought.
They have old style uniforms and they're driving old Jeeps.
Helmets, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, join us next week when we talk about another shitty alien movie.
The aliens will invade again, but this time it's more about America.
And this time I want me one of those. Will Smith did not slap an alien in that movie. I was very disappointed.
We punched him.
He did, but I wanted to see that nice
open hand.
Yeah. Anyways,
Chris rocked him. That makes sense.
Somebody should do like a edit where it's like Smith is like flying the airplane and all the alien ships are coming and they cut to like a cockpit shot. They should have Chris Rock in the other one, just like shooting them.
Independence Day, the film where he says, "I need to call my mother. I need to call my lawyer."
And then what is it? Not Jeff Bridges, whatever the fuck that guy's name is.
Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum is like,
checkmate.
I'm a very smart scientist guy.
You might have seen me in The Fly.
You might have seen me in Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
I also said in that film, you gotta go faster.
Also, women love me so much in every movie. I always get a hot girlfriend.
Should we start Independence Day like we started Crank, where we just do our Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah.
I'm here today to talk about my film Independence Day.
I was also in Thor Ragnarok, and I was this goofy emperor guy.
That Colin Trevorrow. He's a smart guy.
There's a lot of pictures online of me touching or like hugging teenage girls. It's kind of weird, but hey, I'm Jeff Goldblum.
It's just a meme. All right, next week, Independence Day. Goodbye.
We come in peace. We come in peace. We come in peace. We come in peace.
They came in peace.